Okay, everybody. So if you're watching this stream, I want to apologize because the stream got nuked because somebody got mad. So we are back. This is going to be edited. This is going to be a bitch to edit for me later on. But anyway, so anyway, hello everybody. New stream made. Okay, so let's see if we. Oh boy. YouTube Studio, just to make sure. Okay, we got some people back in the chat, mostly on Twitter.
Bots. Hello, Twitter bots.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we are. Oh my God. Okay, we had like 30 people in the chat watching us live too, which was nice. But yeah. So I got to text freaking Paul to take down the latest stream. Oh.
So for those of you who are wondering, clearly Vladimir Putin launched a denial of service attack on us to make sure we would stop making fun of Russia.
Superhero.
Yes. Kraven is a superhero, a national hero over there.
I'm pretty sure that YouTube's algorithm got mad at us. That's all I can think of. So, so that's exactly what happened. Sony smash.
I hope I at least provided you guys with some fun and colorful commentary my first time watching those.
It was right as I was answering his comment. So I'm gonna go.
Avi, share your comment again. So we
yeah. Send us the new because I don't have. I had to go in and completely make a separate room on StreamYard to make this a thing. So so today we learned that don't share the trailer. So next time we will just or what I should have done, and this is what I think I just thought about. If I had put copyright Sony Pictures as a banner, I think we would have been okay. But I didn't think about that. So
okay, Professor Escanor has a great comment in there.
This proves Sony cares about this movie. And it is a Monday lottery.
I mean, they actually made Rhino kind of look like how he does in the comics. So they're giving Kraven his actual, vest. So I don't know. They're trying. It's just they're trying in a weird way.
So I read the other day that apparently Marvel can't use Spider-Man villains that have already appeared in a Sony movie. So that explains why if this is true, that explains why they're making all these villain movies.
I remember, it's weird what they're doing because I remember someone theorized that one of the reasons why the supporting cast looks so different in the Homecoming trilogy, why, Michelle, the Michelle MJ thing and, Ned being kind of ganky a little bit, this was all, and I guess maybe Marissa Tomei being young Aunt May, I don't know, all this stuff was because there were some weird rights things, but then someone was like, no, that can't be right. But sometimes I wonder about what I don't know, the villain movies and the weird changes, because Sony's supposed to be the one making. From what I understood, I thought Sony made the Homecoming trilogy essentially, but with some help from Marvel, So I don't know. This is
gonna make a fascinating book one day. Someone's gonna write a book about all this.
Well, look,
there already is a book about the movies out there by Sean McConnell, right? That's his name.
Sean O'Connell. Yep.
Sean O'Connell. That's right. There's already that book out there, but I feel like there's got to be more to this weird, Sony
literally
MCU stuff.
The Sony stuff. It's like the last chapter of the book, and I need to he's in the middle of doing a Bruce Willis book right now.
Mm-hmm.
like a Bruce Willis book, like that encapsulates his entire career and everything like that, and
Yeah,
all his struggles.
that'd be a good book.
Bruce Willis was my mom's client for a little while before he left New York. And the first few months that he would come into the business, she would pretend that she didn't know who he was, and he knew that she was pretending that he didn't know who he was. And
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
yeah. Javi
Okay, so here's what we are going to do. I'm going to, after we get done with the stream, I'm going to pull the streams both off. I'm going to edit them and then combine them. That way we don't have problems later on. So,
all right.
Listen, I'm going to go watch the movie and I'm going to do a full review. Going to happen.
I'm not.
My ass is going to go sit in this damn theater to go to look. Am I going to pay like Thursday night to review the movie? No, I'm going to go on Saturday at noon and pay $7 to watch this godforsaken movie. And then I'm going to be fine with it. So
people complain about how much a movie costs. Like go try to go earlier in the morning / afternoon. There's usually
a matinee showing.
Yeah.
See, I will go watch the movie that has the young black Spider-Man in it, but I won't go watch the movie with the white Kraven.
God.
Well,
that is not a reference to anything in particular.
Shut up, Greg. You're so bad. Okay, and then so Avi said this earlier regarding Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. 98 would be better, but at least Jeff Tamamel said that Spec is his favorite Spidey cartoon. There's more respect to prior iterations than Men of Action were trashing Spectacular Spider-Man than when USM was on. That's also because they were upset, and I think like Quesada was upset because we're I think there was an excitement around Ultimate Spider-Man because it was being made by Disney.
Right.
And I think there was a disappointment amongst everybody that was like, hey, we already had this really great Spider-Man thing. Why are, but obviously we covered that extensively on Spectacular Radio, which you can find over on Spidey-Dude.com. Spectacular Radio.
Everything I'm hearing about Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is just kind of making me less interested in it, and I feel like it's kind of a shame because Leonardo Romero's character designs I think would lend themselves really well to like if they wanted to do some kind of a Ditko Romita adaptation thing. I think that would be pretty great, and it feels like maybe that's what they should have done, but but it's just they're doing this. I don't know, because and this cartoon is weird because it's like, they were saying it was going to be Tom Holland's Spidey's origin story essentially, but then, all this that seems to have gone back and forth perhaps, and it's like what are they doing? I don't know.
So there's still some questions. Obviously, they teased it at D23. I expect like a full trailer around New York.
I heard that it was coming. Well, the thing is, like a few months, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, when is this coming out? Is this thing still coming out?" Because essentially, it was freshman year, and it said that there was going to be 2 seasons. But from what I understand, like then they retitled it to Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and it was like, well, it's just going to be that for now. And so I've been looking, and people are like, "Oh, is this still coming out? What happened to it?" Because there wasn't a lot of news about it, and I saw, I think Jeff Trammell was like, "Oh, it's coming like at the end of this year." So I would assume like it might be sneakily coming out like in the next couple months, or not sneakily, but like I guess we do have New York Comic Con, so maybe they'll announce there. I don't know.
So here's my thought. Last year they did What If, like for the 12 Days of Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And that way it came out right at the end of every episode came out at the end of 2023. I think they're going to do a similar thing with this. Either it's going to debut because Agatha, I think, is coming out in
September.
September.
Like a couple
And I think
weeks, few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's like 9 episodes. So that would make sense. It would be done by like November, December, slight break, then do freshman year. Because I don't think there's going to be anything that comes out in January like they did with Echo this year. Because other than, or maybe they'll do Ironheart the way they did Echo this year. Who knows?
I know Daredevil's coming out in March.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe Ironheart comes out in either in January or after.
Yeah, because that's done too. Well,
Yeah,
that's probably. If I had to guess, they're probably gonna say they'll probably do that in like December.
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be a busy time comic book fan wise, I think, because then we got season 2 of X-Men 97, which that's a whole other holy crap.
I'm not sure what they're. I mean, I loved the first season. I thought the first season was great. The head producer turned out to be a piece of work. Let's just say that. And to be fair, he did a great job, though. But when you change creative directions like that in the middle of production, I've never seen that turn out well.
Well, my understanding was they did the first 2 seasons back to back.
Yeah.
And so he would have but then the stuff came out internally, right? And then, but they were already, I mean, they were finishing animating season 1. Everything was already, I think, in the can for season 2, except for animation. So I think they were waiting on animation. So I think that was the only part of the production that was like waiting to be done for season 2. So I think everything was locked in script wise. So I think they're still doing everything as it was for season 2, but then what the plans beyond season 2, that's a whole nother animal. So I watched, did they do I think they did the assembled for X-Men 97, and it was weird that he was not anywhere on that. Like it was like I said this on X/Twitter. It's gonna get really ugly, I think, before it's all said and done. And so it's unfortunate because he did a good job. I mean, X-Men 97 was legitimately
that was one of the best seasons of a Marvel cartoon ever made. They fired on all cylinders, and what they had to do, it was better than most of the seasons of the original X-Men cartoon.
Yeah, I agree, because they weren't limited in A, the technology, and B, you're doing it for Disney Plus, so you're not limited to the Y7.
They took Bastion and made him cool. What the hell? That character sucked in the comic books.
So, yeah. So I think there'll be some retooling, but it'll be, I haven't heard anything about the Venom stuff. Marcy's right. The development of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is going to be, when that comes out, like when that story comes out, I got questions. So,
I mean, basically, it did seem like, okay, this was going to be Holland's origin, but then when the teasers came out that like, oh, here's Norman Osborn instead of Tony Stark, it's like, yeah, this is its own thing. And but people were still kind of and like, oh, we have like Doc Ock showing up and all these other people in Daredevil and stuff, and people were like, well, how is this still related to Holland? It's like, well, it wasn't by that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is also one that they can use at the parks, and I think they might be able to use it at Disney World and Disneyland. So it's one of those things. We'll see. But yeah, so let's shift gears.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Sony, we're splitting the baby with Sony and Holland and MCU.
That's
So,
one of the reasons why they can't do Spectacular. They're not going to pay for Sony to make a show about a character they own.
exactly. So don't tell the season 3 truthers out there.
Well,
should
we have
tell
this
them,
contract here that says that if you make a show with episodes that are over 45 minutes, you can do it.
That was not the new contract, guys. They renegotiated the contract multiple times. Let's move on before I get that freaking. I've already got an eye twitch over the stream dying, so
That was funny.
It'll be fine.
all right.
Just export them and stuff, slap them together. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So okay, we're going to shift gears to the main event of the evening. So we are. I thought I had the cover. Why didn't I have the cover?
This is why we need Neil.
No, this was me. I forgot.
I know. Not saying Neil wouldn't have forgotten. This is why we need Neil.
Well, Neil's apathetic right now about comics in general. So, all right.
Don't blame him.
Kind of, yeah.
Issue 6 of Spectacular Spider-Men. I have the credits. It was chapter number 6, Wish Fulfillment, written by Greg Weisman, pencils by Humberto Ramos, inks by Victor Olazaba with Humberto Ramos. Edgar Delgado did the colors. The letters are by VC's Joe Caramagna. The production was Gabriel Monta. The assistant editor was Kaeden McGahey. The editor is Mike Lowe. Nick Lowe. Mike Lowe is the guy from Dirty Jobs. Editor-in-chief is CB Cebulski. So I'm going to...
Can I point something out? Look at Black Cat on that cover. Where are the people who say that Marvel isn't allowed to draw women in sexy positions anymore? Because look at Black Cat on that cover.
That's like Ramos's default, though. Let's be real.
I know.
Zach would be pulling his hair out right now if he had hair. I still have some. It's just really
Me
short.
too. I still have some.
I knocked my headphones off. Damn, Felicia, no wonder. Woo! Okay. Damn. Oh. Whew. Okay. Let me pull my book. Let me get my app open because normally Neil is funny, good for the haha recaps, but since Neil is not here,
don't ask me to do the recap, please. I did 26 recaps on Spectacular Radio.
Oh, you don't want to do one more? Okay. All right. So Arachnobatics is also the, I guess, name of the arc.
Yes.
This arc is still going on.
Yes.
Apparently it's going to be 7 issues. The next one.
Yeah.
They're not dividing it straight up that way.
Yeah.
It's so weird that they're not doing that, though. That's weird. So we get a black page of Now. Are you sympathetic to us? Where we have our Miles, or not Miles Warren. So
no, not Raymond Warren. It's Miles Warren.
I know. It's Raymond Warren it's Miles Warren in Raymond Warren's cloned body. So he's talking with the people at the Arcadium. We get the big battle scene with Miles and Peter. He's fighting Kingpin, Silvermane, Mr. Negative, Hammerhead, Black Cat. Is that Tombstone? I think it's supposed to be Tombstone.
Yeah.
Now they're all attacking. So this is why Black Cat's on the cover. It's not because she's actually, So the big old fight ensues between the two sides. Obviously, these are robotic versions of characters. We then cut to the detective, and I think it's
Shashan. It's Shashan and the detective Sevens.
Yeah.
So Sevens and Shashan are going to the Arcadium. We then have Madame Mask,
and that's it.
Yeah, that's literally it. They go to the Arcadium. Madame Mask shows up. Hammerhead, who is actually
she doesn't show up. It's a flashback because it's like, oh, remember when Madame Mask beat the hell out of you, and then there's a little footnote, and it's just him remembering.
I like those old footnotes, just like the older comics. They rarely ever do this stuff anymore.
They do it sometimes, but it is kind of like few and far between. You're right.
Yeah, since the Spencer run, they've been doing it more and more. So then we get a full page splash of Hammerhead running, which I think that may end up being the episode art for the audio.
Yeah, looks good.
So we then get more of the confirmation that it's Miles essentially. Peter ends up breaking the arms of Mr. Negative. Hammerhead's the only one that's actually alive. That's not like a genetic robot construct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then they launch Contingency Z, and so and Miles is talking to the mysterious person about why limit yourselves to non-organic life forms when you could do cloning. So then we get basically all the broken machines coming together to become this big giant Knave.
Yeah. Is the case silent?
I don't know. It's big giant splash page of
naive. It's
naive.
I don't know. Hey, next Build-A-Figure.
Oh God. So a couple of letters and so we get the thrilling
backup for some reason.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard book to talk about because it's mostly a big fight scene and it's moving the Miles plot forward a little bit, but not a lot happens in it. And I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. It's actually fun to cut loose a little bit, especially with how much information was being thrown at us in the first few issues. So it's nice to see things kind of toned down slow down a little bit. And there's definitely some nice moments in here. And I saw the comment. I don't think Miles is being mean to Peter. I think he's a little bit annoyed with Peter's request, but he still said whatever and went ahead with it anyway. I mean, if I were in that situation, I'd be also. I mean, I don't think that's mean.
Comments are killing me. Here's the recap. Peter complains about punching his ex. Miles tells him to man up.
I don't know if I'd characterize it that way, but okay.
Madam Mask is here just to tie into Venom's next book because she may be one of the people.
Which I'm not reading.
I can't put that up on screen, Walter.
I will. Yeah. So I like that this book, utilizes the supporting cast and all that. But I will say that Shoshan and Detective Seven's page could have been cut probably.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll make sense later. I will say this: I do kind of am looking forward to seeing what's going on with the supporting cast. It's set up like Kenny and everyone. I want to know what they're up to in the Arcadium right now and what's been going on there, because
I kind of want to figure out who is Miles talking to.
Well, it's just apparently it's the Arcadium AI or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that was because they like.
Yeah, I think it is. He's gonna put the Arcadium AI into a body.
Yeah, because
that's what the
yeah. That was the tease at the end of the last issue, because it's like, oh yeah, he's talking to someone. Who is it? And then it says in the little previously on page, where does it say this? It says, Raymond has found himself face to face with the Arcadium's core artificial intelligence, and it's like, okay,
yeah.
Okay,
they made it seem like it was like someone who's going to be somebody.
Pull up Professor Escanor's comment.
Is it just me, or does this book and Spider Society seem to not make sense in the timeline? Peter broke up months ago with Fleet. Listen,
he called her his ex. He called her his ex. What does that have to do with anything? I mean, I don't get that comment.
Because it's been a while since like the two have interacted.
It's been like a year.
It's still his ex. It's somebody has a long history with. I mean,
yeah. So like,
it's still somebody he cares about.
That's true. Wow, and it's just. The Spider Society, don't get me started on the whole Spider Society thing, because like that book is just.
I don't even know what that book is. Don't tell me.
It's the new Spider-Verse book. It's basically going to be the Web Warriors. I think it's a mini series. It's only 5 issues.
Okay.
And it's between that and Spider-Boy, like messing with Spider-Verse. It's just like, oh, okay. Like there's so much of that stuff right now.
I am so out of the loop.
The Spider Society's first issue was kind of dreadful. You're not wrong.
Was it as dreadful as playing hot potato with mental illness between Peter and Norman and that horrible Zeb Wells issue? Because that's how mental illness works. You can play hot potato between them. I'm not over that. I'm really not over that. That was terrible.
You're super salty about that.
Yeah, I mean that whole the sins concept was interesting, but they basically made it a parody of itself by the end. I think is a decent summary.
Yeah,
Summation.
Isn't Zeb Wells the guy who wrote Shed?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, he wrote Shed. He also wrote the MTV Beach story, the two-parter, and Peter Parker.
Yes, Venkman. I am pull up Venkman's last comment.
Greg's out of the loop. He's happier for it. Yes,
I'm only reading 2 Marvel comics right now. This book, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Captain America by J. Michael Straczynski. 2 of my favorite creators, and I'm happy for it. The moment.
Now, I will say, if you can go find it, the Black, White, and Blood.
Black Suit and Blood,
issue. Yeah. Black Suit Blood, which is a horrible title. That actually is was a really good book. It's got a DeMatteis story and a JMS story sandwiched in between like a new person. So
I'll have to check that out.
Oh yeah, Weisman's gonna have a story in issue 2 also. So
yeah, Greg's gonna have a
excellent.
So yeah, so you definitely want to pick up issue 2.
Yeah, most of the comics I'm reading these days actually aren't from Marvel.
Yeah, you're reading a lot of Dynamite comics, I think, these days.
Yeah, the 2 Gargoyles comics. I'm also reading some stuff from Skybound. I'm reading their Transformers, their G.I. Joe, their
See, Neil, if you were here, you could talk G.I. Joe and Transformers with Greg, but no, you guys still haven't done that podcast yet. Anyway, so hi Andrew. Okay. Adam, your thoughts on this issue?
I guess. I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's a big fight. That's fine. Because I mean, I agree with Greg. You know, it's nice to have a big fight after all this like stuff that we've had over the past few issues. I guess my big critique is just from what we know. So okay, the next issue 7 is going to be the conclusion of this arc, and I just wonder, I think about it now and I'm like, well, could this have been shortened up a little bit? Because it seems, I mean, just with how comics are these days, usually an arc is like 3 to 6 issues, and I feel like, okay, that's interesting, it's 7, but I just think about it and I think of all the, you know, all the discussions we've had about these now 6 issues, and it's like, well, could we have like cut some stuff? Could we have maybe you know,
I kind of wonder if it was intended to be 6 issues and it became 7 issues when he got told that he was going to have 2 less pages.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because and the page count. Anyway, I don't know, like,
because that would equate with 5 issues, right? That's 10,
I guess,
20 pages. So
I just find this odd. I feel like this arc could have been tightened up a bit, and like some of the stuff.
Yeah,
go ahead, Greg.
I do know some of this stuff will also be what the publisher wants. I mean, like over Dynamite, he did one 12-issue series, which is the first Gargoyles, and Dark Ages is 6 issues. Then Quest, which is going on right now, it's 5. The next one's going to be 5. Meanwhile, he has a 7-issue arc over here, and
yeah,
I don't think a lot of that is his choice so much as what's being asked for. But I'm also thinking, why would Marvel ask for a 7-issue arc when they're doing 5 or 6 issues for a trade, and we have the trade coming out, which is the first 5? I mean, it'd be interesting to interview him again and pick his brain about this first arc.
So here's
he can tell us about that, but
yeah, so. Well, he'll tell us as much as he can. I know.
Right.
I know. Greg's pretty. I mean, he's pretty open about that type of stuff.
I just feel like, you know, because like I said, what we've talked about now for these first 6 issues, you know, this one here, like, it just feels like, oh, okay, this could have, like, well, if they want to do a 5-issue arc for if they want to do a 5-issue arc for a trade, then they probably could have like had him maybe tighten this up, or like if they want to do 6 issues, like I don't know, I just feel like there is some stuff that we've talked about before that maybe could have been cut a little bit, just tighten up a little bit, and it's like, okay, then you have like a nice 5 to 6 issue trade. But I don't know, it's odd.
I will say, after over 20 years of this, I'm kind of happy to see things not necessarily being written for the trade, for if it is, it's right in the story as the story goes. Now we can have our quibbles about the pacing with this, but it's nice to not see this is your box, this is it. Just is this as long as the story needs to be? We'll be able to judge that next issue. I will say this: when issue 7 comes out, I'm going to go back and reread the first 6 before I read that one and see what I think of it all as a whole. But I'm kind of glad that I'm not pointing the finger at one person specifically. This is just the most famous example. The quote-unquote Bendisization of writing comics seems to be over.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, I mean, Quesada's no longer there. Alonso's no longer there. Cebulski's. They've made Alan Fine, they kind of talked about it with retailers. A new ongoing is going to get at least 10 issues. So we'll see. Like, there are some changes that have been made in the background, I think. So, okay. So let's give grades, and then we'll go to questions and voicemails and stuff like that. So, Greg, what is your grade?
I give it an A-. I thought it was good. There was nothing particularly wrong with it. It was a fun little fight. It was a fun big fight scene, and the Miles stuff is intriguing. But Miles is one of those characters. Miles Warren. He's either great or he's terrible. Right now, I'm leaning towards this one being great.
Okay. Adam, your grade.
I think I'll give it a B- because of the pacing, essentially. I don't know.
And then I'm going to give it a B. Actually, I'm going to give it a B+. The artwork I think is good. I think this is some of the better Ramos stuff.
I do like the artwork.
Artwork's good. I like Shashan.
Me too.
Yeah. So, more of this, please. So, okay. So
also, that was Tombstone. That doesn't look like Tombstone.
It does not look like.
He's bald now. They got rid of his flat top. I don't know why. Maybe because of the video game or something.
It's because his hair, his house blew up and his hair got burned off.
No, but he didn't have hair. But his hair was like, he didn't have the flat top though in those first.
Yeah, he had like a short cropped hairstyle.
It was like very. If he had any hair at all, it was very short. It wasn't like his classic flat top thing that he has had for almost all of his appearances. I feel like it's because of the video game, honestly, because the video game he's bald. So
synergy. Are you going to read Ultimate Spider-Man eventually?
I don't know.
You should. It's good. Professor Encantor recommends Powerpuff Girls and Thundercats books.
Okay, I might. I mean, Powerpuff Girls. I've never actually seen an episode of Powerpuff Girls, so I have no real nostalgic attachment to it. That's not a judgment. And Thundercats. I didn't like Thundercats growing up. Sorry.
Is Powerpuff Girls? Is it an all ages book? Let me know, because my daughter likes Powerpuff Girls, and that might be a way of getting her into comics. Waylon Wade, sir, get out of my face.
He wants to be on the show.
Yeah, of course. Why is not the best character on the cover? Of course, he's talking about Jackpot. Like how the Bears had a jackpot of a game. Shut up, Walter. I hate. Yep. When Jackpot's not on screen, all the characters should be talking about where's Jackpot.
All of this is going over my head.
Jackpot is MJ as a superhero.
Okay.
It's stupid.
Okay.
Thanks, Zeb. Question: who on the show can do the black cat pose? Does the human back bend that way?
I can do that, but I don't want to.
I could attempt, but then I would be going to the chiropractor. Cat's pose is so easy. What do you mean? That back arch has too much of a right angle to it, like it's snapped in half. No, it's easy, especially to a gymnast. Marcy, are you going to try to do that? Give us that pose. Avi has said he's liking all the issues, but he feels like the stuff that people don't like about this book comes from editorial rather than Greg. Professor gives it a 6 out of 10. How is Gargoyles compared to this? Does Weisman's pacing suffer there too?
I love it. It's a different kind of pace, and it's not like the more modern pacing of a comic. He's trying to do a lot of stuff in limited page space, so your mileage may vary. I think it's great. A lot of other people think it's great, but again, I can't tell you what your opinion on that would be.
Check out Voices from the Eerie Gargoyles podcast on Spideydude Radio Network.
The greatest animated series ever made. And I stand by that. I am fucking serious.
There's Greg's F-bomb. All right. So what do you want on your tombstone? Rising Crust, definitely.
Huh?
So his pacing's more TV-like, apparently.
I guess, yeah.
Vinkman's making a pizza joke with Tombstone.
Oh, I'm a New Yorker. We don't do pizza chains. Sorry.
It's not pizza chains. It's frozen pizza you get at the grocery store.
Again, I'm a New Yorker. We don't do that.
I know. You don't have ground up.
Sure. I'm sure some of them do.
Inside, put with your Italian sausage, then it's not real pizza. I get it there, Greg. So
come to New York. We'll get some great pizza.
I'm curious to see how Greg Weisman's issue of Black Suit and Blood is, which will have a different editor. So should Miles be a vampire in this? I mean, I think this takes place before the vampirism.
I mean, I don't
know what your guys are referring to or talking about.
Miles just became a vampire like a month ago.
Here's what I say about all this continuity stuff. Don't worry about it. The continuity of other books do not affect the continuity of other books unless they explicitly say so, like how they reference gang war in this one. So there you go.
Okay. That's our response to everything now. Okay.
I remember us talking on CSC whenever we had Gerard on to talk about modern comics. And I kind of feel like, Greg, you've now become the Gerard of the show.
I think I'm much nicer than he is, but
well, I mean, you're more positive than he is, but like if you're not reading like the rest of Marvel or like the Spider-Man line, these questions are like, what?
That's why I kind of like this book though, is that you really don't have to be reading the other, like this really does seem like its own thing until they say, oh yeah, gang war happened. But then but still it doesn't really, I feel like it doesn't matter if you read gang war or not to read this.
It's literally just Hammerhead running towards Madame Mask because he got he's like a raging bull.
It's accessible to me, a lifelong Spider-Man fan who's not reading the other comics because he can't stand the shit that they are doing. There, I said something mean now. I'm sorry, potato with the Green Goblin persona.
I feel like we're not really in the days quite so much anymore where all the books are kind of where the continuity between books is solid. It's all fast and loose, like do whatever you want, which I like that, and I kind of think that's fine because I think I kind of don't want to have to read something else to fully understand what is happening in the book I'm reading. But I know other people are kind of more into continuity like that, so I don't know, whatever. But personally, I feel like, especially these days, like continuity is just what you make it, and like, whatever you like is canon, whatever you don't isn't. Like you get to pick and choose, because that's essentially, I feel like, what the companies are just doing anyway. So
yeah, continuity's always been loose. It just feels like it's gotten loose recently since Spencer's run.
Greg, what are if someone's not reading those other books, you know what? This is fine by me. I don't need to know about Miles being a vampire, and I don't particularly want to.
Couple of questions.
The Miles book is good, but
Miles book is good. Honestly, Cody Ziegler's like it's like what if Miles was in an anime,
Yeah.
and it's really fast paced, and honestly, the tie-in books to like bigger events are some of the better tie-ins because it does keep the focus on Miles. It doesn't just like get drug into it. Like even the gang war stuff, like Miles goes off and does his own thing during gang war. You don't have to read the rest of gang war. If you like if you like Dragon Ball Z, it's a pretty good comparison. So a couple questions for Greg.
Confession: I've never seen an episode of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z.
Well, there you go. Hey, Greg, since he knows you're not a Gwen fan, how do you feel about Gwen's role in the Dream World scenario for issue 3 rather than having him with MJ? I know Twitter got really annoyed with that. LOL.
Spider-Man Twitter gets annoyed about everything. I don't even engage with it anymore. And they're gonna hate me now. They called me a fake Spectacular Spider-Man fan at one point. Remember that? but anyway.
The early days of this show. Having to do a whole episode talking about Save Spectacular Spider-Man. Hashtag.
Yeah, well, that was also the
Marcy is offended right now at you, Greg. She is offended. DBZ is peak.
Okay.
The book is "What If Miles Was Good," and it's great. That's
that's pretty.
Anyway,
look,
but
after
I didn't answer Rafi's question.
Oh, what is?
Anyway, but as for the whole thing, you know what? I prefer MJ. They were both the loves of his life at various different points of his life. A lot of that can depend upon his emotional state or mindset in the moment. Take it from me. And also, you know what? I just don't engage in shipping wars. So, F you, Spider Twitter. F you.
Okay. Venkman asks, what are some good pizza, New York pizza places that you would recommend visiting?
John's on Bleecker Street. I would also recommend Carmine's, which is right around the corner. Lombardi's is okay. And there's, I'm blanking out the name now. It's late, but there's a really famous pizza spot in Coney Island.
Okay, so
Zach's gonna have to have a talk with me tonight. I'm kind of at the I don't give a crap portion of my Spider fandom, even though I love the character in the world.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm doing this show, I have to keep all my fingers in the pies. And if you would like us to talk about Miles Morales,
I mean, you don't have to.
I mean, I feel like I'm obligated to.
You don't have to feel that way. You can do whatever you want.
Listen, Walter, I am not going to engage in that type of tomfoolery.
I mean, I like a nice lasagna pie.
Chicago deep dish is a casserole. It's a really good casserole. I like it, but it's a casserole.
New York pizza is peak. Okay,
come to New York sometime. We'll go get pizza.
I enjoy deep dish. Don't misunderstand. It's just a different. It's like Coke and Pepsi and Dr. Pepper and it's just a different flavor. Personally, it would be fun to see you talk about 2099 or Miles' book since Peter's isn't even good enough to use as kindling. This book is fine in comparison. As an Italian, you are wrong. It is no, sir. I'm about to ban you for that. It is not a greasy paper towel, sir. Just because you're from Chicago.
Hey, the pizza that Zach sat on interview with John Romita Jr. that he was carrying on his lap will always be the best. Titanos, that's it. Titanos. Great job, Venkman. Great job.
Venkman in the Googles.
It's great.
So, yeah. So we'll wrap up with the pizza talk and the pizza wars inside of our chat here. For everybody that watched both halves of the stream, like Marcy and Professor and Walter and Venkman, thank you guys. I know I'm missing somebody. Avi, thank you for jumping on. Andrew, thanks for jumping on as well. We really do appreciate it. Sorry about the technical difficulties, apparently. And so if you are listening to the audio edition of this show, I'm gonna have as much of the audio of us describing the Kraven the Hunter trailers as possible because of the entertainment value. But definitely gonna have to.
It shouldn't be too bad of a.
The audio edition is gonna be easy. It's the video edition. I'm just gonna have to figure out where I'm going to clip.
For the record, because people are shocked at some of the things I haven't seen, which isn't a judgment on them. I'm not judging the things I haven't seen. I also have never seen an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants.
We were probably too old at the time.
I know I was an adult when it came out.
Yeah.
I mean, I was still watching cartoons, but go on.
Yeah. So like I mean, I watched some SpongeBob and I watched some Powerpuff Girls, but my daughter loves Powerpuff Girls, so I'm like, ooh.
Oh, it's not a judgment. I know people really love Powerpuff Girls. It's just that I didn't have Cartoon Network at home until after it was over, and by the time I got it, I just was never around to even catch it. I've just never seen it.
R.I.P. to Cartoon Network. It is now dead.
Yeah, I heard. You know what? At least the Venture Brothers got an ending. Go Team Venture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like SpongeBob, and I still haven't watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. I know, Marcy. I'm
Avatar's all right. I like it quite a bit. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I like it. And I'm to my age. I think Batman and Gargoyles are better shows, but I still like Avatar. Avatar's really good.
Oh, okay. The website is dead, but the channel's alive. Okay. Well, I mean, because Adult Swim is basically carrying.
That's a more positive okay than my okay to what's going on in the comics. Okay.
So, okay. Somewhat fluid. We've been having an internal debate about whether or not we're going to do ASM next week and then Ultimate the following week, or we're going to do Ultimate this next week and then ASM the following week. So we will be back on Wednesday regardless.
We'll be back soon.
We're going to do 3 episodes for the next 3 weeks, and then we're taking a break, which will be the first break we've had since June.
You may have, speaking of breaks, some of you may have noticed that Voices from the Erie has been on a break. We came back from Minneapolis all pumped up. Then I got COVID, and then Jen had to unexpectedly find a place to live and move all within the span of the month. She's still in the process of doing that. So as soon as she gets settled, we're going to start recording again.
So yeah, so life got in the way of Voices from the Erie. It was such a the con was such a triumph that we're like, life just starts throwing tomatoes at you. So I think we've got one more episode of the MTV series that's in the can. We're gonna try to record the last 3 episodes, so that way we can wrap up that series. I think we're gonna do Unlimited next, is for Patreon. For our commentaries, which I have not watched Unlimited since it came out. I've watched like maybe an episode or 2, but do a coin flip to decide if you suffer with ASM or enjoy Ultimate.
Everyone keeps saying I should read Ultimate. I know.
Oh, we do have a voicemail, but go ahead.
I mean, I'm still. I was planning to. I got busy. Now there's so many issues. I'm like, oh, do I want to take the time to?
The trade's coming out, and
I'll read the trade.
Greg, we will talk off air. I got you. We will talk off air. Unlimited. I'm gonna watch it just based on like, we'll probably do like a primer episode. We may put that up on YouTube, and then everything else.
You can talk about how Dan Slott thinks that's the same Spider-Man as the one from the 90s cartoon.
I've already had to talk about that on Make Mine Mayday because of like all the Spider-Man shenanigans. But I have not gone on that rant. Let's reverse that around there, Walter. You're just being a troll right now. Speaking of Walter, there's a voicemail that he left, and I'm going to play it right quick. So
they call me Tater Salad. Hey guys, it's Walter. I'm just calling because I felt it was unfair that I gave Zach a hint to what I plan to do at the live call-in show.
I'm terrified.
So I figured I'd be nice and give everybody a hint. Spelling will be involved. The game is called The Great Spidey Spelling Bee. So it will cover anything in media, comic books, movies, TV shows, you name it, all fair game. So be prepared to spell words Spidey related. Have fun with your sense of dread. See you later.
I don't understand why we are doing a spell like Walter. Why? So,
he's gonna start dropping bills for everyone we get right.
Well, he'd better be doing some of those super chats.
listen, if I'm gonna have to do spelling, I request super chats, kind sir. It's
yes,
because
you are,
he's
Walter. You are, and I enjoy that. I appreciate that. I respect that.
So, all right, let us wrap this episode up. Everybody that's watching us live, if you're watching us on Instagram, this was our first Instagram stream, and boy howdy, that went a ways. If you're watching us live, thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate it. So I do want to point out our friends over at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Allison, Cindy, Ed, Georgia, Greg. It's Greg. Janelle, Jessica, Jurgen, Joyce, Catherine, Kale, Laura Howard, Lump Moose, Master Draman, Phoenician, RJ, Vanessa, and Vicky. Thank you guys for your support, as well as our spectacular patrons, Sarah, Tara, and Walter, and our VIPs, Scott McGraw and Vinkman. Thank you guys for your support on patreon.com. As we mentioned earlier,
I saw some of those people at Convergence in July.
You did.
Yeah.
You got to talk to all of our patrons, which is awesome.
A few of them. I saw Laura. I saw Phoenician. I saw Master Draman.
Sweet. That's awesome. Of course, if you go to Patreon, you get the exclusive Books of X podcast. If you have not checked out our interview with Greg Weisman, I think we're going to try to set another one up for later on this year, since we're wrapping up the first arc. Check out the Slot Symposium, where we covered Mysterioso. Of course, Voices from the Eerie, going to be coming back very soon, as Greg gets a chance to and Jen get settled back into the groove of things. More ASM Classics coming soon. Of course, you can check out our other audio-only shows. Clone Saga Chronicles, Spectacular Radio, the shows that started the entire network. Of course, Sappy Sim Era podcast, more books of music or web of music coming very soon. And of course, a new episode of Make My Mayday. I gotta confirm the date, but we will be coming back on Make My Mayday, talking about some more stuff with Mayday. If you have not already, go follow us on our social medias at Spideydude Radio on Twitter/X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Twitch, all at Spideydude Network. And then the YouTube page. If you're not already subscribed, you can subscribe over at youtube.com/Spideydude Radio Network. And finally, if you want to leave a voicemail just like Walter did, 818-925-6631, or you can always email me an audio clip over at SpideyDudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. Thank you for watching us live. If you are watching us live, you're listening to us after the fact, we do also always appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time here on the Spideydude